Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to our lecturer, Prof. Roslan. So again, we are Group 8 going to be present about the data on the topic personality of project manager in the construction industry. Before the presentation begins, allow me to introduce our group members. Me, myself, Faris Daniel, Kasli Zawati, Nadia, and also Nik Animatul Afzan. For the content presentation today, we'll be start with the introduction. Will be presented by Nik Animatul Afzan, and second literature review will be presented by Nadia, briefly on the roles and responsibility of project manager, personality and behavior assessment tools. The third one, case study, will be presented by Kasri Zawati on the background of study data collection. And the last one, conclusion, will be presented by me to summarize on the overall case study and research.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nik Aminata Afzan. You can call me Ami. I will be present about introduction and scope of study. Introduction. For the introductions, organizations are really more and more on project management to achieve initiative. Economy figure cater international indicate a significant and growing use of project management. Project manager have come under study to help ensure positive project outcome and improve organization performance. Soft skill or competency contribute more to the project success than technical skill such as control or planning. Interpersonal skills are more important to project success than technological skill. Project manager skills are basically entry-level skill and do not as often lead to the successful project outcome as do soft interpersonal skill. Soft skill to the include personality traits and attitude have not received adequate attention in the project management. Found associations between personality traits and project manager success. So, will be moved to scope of study. Scope of study have 3 points. First, case study focus on the project manager position in construction company at Kuala Lumpur. Project management is an invoice discipline. Report have shifted from the technical bias which the impairs on project manager technical skill to the project manager behavior. The last one is technical skill has a lead to a division. Top necessary for the successful project management. Soft skill, which is interpersonal related, and hard skill, which is discipline, specific and technical oriented, comprise the 2 areas of the project manager study. Thank you.
There are 2 sections in literature review. The first one is roles and responsibilities of a project manager, and the second one is personality and behavioral assessment tool. So let's take a look at the roles and responsibilities of a project manager. A project manager plays an important role in construction industry. Also, a good and experienced project manager who knows their responsibilities will determine the success of the project. So, as we all know, a project manager is responsible in overall project planning, distributing resources, time management, and also risk management, creating benchmark, managing the budget, and also the staff, and also they are responsible in managing relationships with client and stakeholders. Other than that, a project manager is responsible to inspect all the important elements of the building process. They also need to work together with architects and engineers to develop plans, create a project timeline, determine labor and also the material costs. Other than that, they also responsible to ensure that the project will be completed on time within the budget. They also need to improve their knowledge and skill in terms of behavioral, technical and contextual competence so that the quality of their work can be improved. Besides, they are also responsible to hire and manage subcontractors and employees. And lastly, they need to ensure the projects are assigned complies to the current building codes and also referring to legal and regulatory requirements. Next, let's take a look at our second section, which is personality and behavioral assessment tools. Our first study is about Myers-Briggs personality assessment. The test consists of 4 categories, which is the first one is extraversion versus introversion. This can be described and can be seen as someone who needs to get energy from social situations are characterized as outward. Meanwhile, introverts are people who gain energy from being alone to reflect and can be as inward. The second one is sensing versus intuition. Sensing can be characterized as people who make decisions from empirically gathered information, while intuitive person is more comfortable relying on impressions or hunches. The third one is thinking versus feeling. People who are characterized as thinking prefer hard data, while those labeled as feeling are impacted by emotion when making decisions. The fourth one is judging versus perceiving. People who have judging preferences are likely to thrive when things are organized and well planned. In contrast, those described as perceiving are open to spontaneity. Thus, the result of the test will produce one letter from each category, resulting in a 4-letter test results like INFJ or ENFP. A person's Myers-Briggs indicator personality type can help them understand and figure out what career would be suitable for them based on their personality. According to an article, namely MBTI test ESTJ construction manager, it stated that construction managers should have empirical, detailed, and solution-driven, which is extroverted, sensing, thinking, judging, Myers-Briggs test that can be identified as ESTJ types. This is because construction managers often deal and direct their workers and supervisors in what needs to be done on a job site, whether scheduling workers' time or deliveries, budgeting of the project, organizing construction plans, and making sure that the project is completed on time. Besides, construction managers also need to be proficient in many kinds of tools and technologies in their tasks, such as levels, scanners, and also the use of smartphones and laptops. Other than that, they also need to know some engineering software, for example, CAD software, Microsoft Project, Start Pro, or SketchUp. Next is Big 5 personality. This test points out 5 most standout characters enabled to measure a person's personality, which are extraversion, neuroticism, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and also openness. Just like what I've explained before, extraversion is also the same in Myers-Briggs indicator. Thus, agreeableness means a person is lovable and loves others. People who are high in agreeableness are more cooperative and confident. Meanwhile, conscientiousness is a measure of a reliability of a person. A high conscientious person is more likely to be responsible, organized, reliable, and persistent. Then, neuroticism, which means emotional instability. It represents the ability of a person to not withstand stress. Those who have high in neuroticism, that means they have high emotional instability, which they tend to be nervous, anxious, depressed, or insecure. Lastly, openness is a characteristic of someone who has interest and fascination with novelty. This is why most people, we can see that they are creative, curious, and also artistically sensitive. Thus, project managers who are more conscientious have a tendency to be dependable, orderly, achievement-oriented, and are more likely to set and be committed to their goals. And lastly is this personality. Every personality type provides a basic set of natural strengths and weaknesses. Knowing which one you are can help to refine your focus toward personal and professional success. As you can see from the diagram, we have 4 types of characteristics that will be measured in this personality. The first one is dominant, the second one is inspiring, the third one is cautious, and the last one is supportive. Each quadrant of the DISC circle has descriptive words attached to it that attempt to capture the typical behavior exhibited by people who have the combination of motor and compass drives that corresponds to that quadrant. For example, the dominants are individuals that are outgoing and task-oriented. In other words, they exhibit direct and dominant behaviors. That means they focus on solving problems and achieving resounding results. The dominant trait find it very difficult to show patience, display sensitivity, give room for deliberations, and get into details on a given task or discussion. The second one is inspiring or influence. Inspiring behavioral style usually finds it attractive to interact with people. They also have fun and create excitement. Their leadership styles are energizing, pioneering, and affirming, and they find it very difficult to follow through. They also need to do research for every fact. They speak directly and also able to stay focused in a long period of time. The third one is supportive. Supportive represents those who are supportive and steady. Also, they are reserved and people-oriented. As a leader, their leadership style will mostly to be characterized as inclusiveness and affirmation. The supportive behavioral style find it very difficult to adapt quickly to uncertain expectations, multitask, confront others, and also to promote in themselves. And lastly, the cautious and conscientiousness. This behavioral usually focuses on rules, correctness, and facts as their leadership style, which they characterize by being deliberate, humble, and resolute.
Hi, I'm Kaslizawati binti Kasim. I will discuss on case study for the following slides. In this slide, we will discuss on the case study. The case study was conducted among managers in construction industry by using the DISC personality test. Through this DISC test, the personality profile will be categorized in the following style. First, dominance. These are people who emphasize on accomplishing the bottom line results. Second, the influence. These are people who emphasize on relationship and influencing or persuading others. Third, the steadiness. These are the people who emphasize on cooperation and sincerity. Fourth, the compliance. These are the people who emphasize on quality, accuracy, expertise, and competency. This personality test can be conducted online via the link that we shared in the slide. On the next slide, I will discuss on the data collection. The personality test was shared to about 50 participants, which consists senior engineers, project managers, and even the top management representative. About 30 numbers of respondents came back with their personality test results with a various style where we can summarize them in the following categories. First, the organizations. Sampling was made on various organizations, which includes contractors, consultants, building owners, and local authority. Secondly, is the gender. The test is impartial between gender, but for case study purposes, the respondent gender was observed to compare the profile between male and female. Third, the designation. Managers are not limited to project managers alone. There are other types of managers in construction industry, which are the site manager, construction manager, contract manager, project architect, and top management. Fourth, the experience. Age and experience of the respondents are observed to get more accurate profiling. Experience of the respondent will influence their response while answering in the personality test. Fifth, the personality style. The personality style is observed based on respondent's management level, which are the first line management, middle management, higher management, and the designers. On the following slide, we will discuss on the summary of the profiles gauged from the survey that we made. First, we will discuss on the internal style of the profile. The internal style profile represents the internal motivations that drive the persons in their working environment. It demonstrates on how a person thinks and feels of the situation more than on how they act or behave. In this sampling, it's about 31.5% of the overall correspondents are equally dominant and compliant. This sampling suggesting that at all levels of management, the respondents possess a dominant personality style, while the compliance personality style is relatively higher in the higher management level as compared to the others. About 21% of the respondents possess steadiness profile style, and another 8 equally between influence and level. Level is a personality style that mixes among the 4 styles at the same level. Level style mostly contributed by the first lines and the middle management team. In the next slides, we will discuss on the external style of profile. The external style represents on how a person acts and behaves, in addition to others, depending on how they adapt or adjust based on the environment that they were in or thinking during the assessment. About 34% of the respondents possessed the compliance profile, and it was highly ranked in the middle management and the designers. Followed by 16% of dominance, especially in high management group. The steadiness and influence alone were only 5 and 3%. But a combination between DC, CD, DS, and others contributes the largest percentage, which is 42%. Hence, based on the sampling that we made, we can conclude that among all the managers in construction industries possess the dominance and compliance higher than other profiles. This may be due to their role of responsibility, which required them to make important decisions after a thorough talk in a certain matters.
Here we come to the conclusion. Based on the data collected, there is two main highlighted personality, which is dominance and compliance. On the internal style, there is 31% is dominance, and on the external style, there is 34% is compliance. These two personality styles is the highest in the data. In summary, what we can say that a project manager is dominant, since he or she is drive to have a control or to make an impact on one project. This is made due to their responsibility, which require them to make an important decision. For the second one, a project manager is a compliance, since he or she need to analyze the project performance and to make calculation, detailed reports, which are required to their roles. So they are need to extremely organized and systematic in taking project and focus on accuracy. So what I can say overall, project manager not only focusing on one aspect. They must be a virus personality to suit with people behavior and how to managing people in different projects. Before we end our presentation, here our take back. For me, personality types are useful for recognizing how we lead, influence, communicate, collaborate, negotiate, and manage stress, because it can help with our leadership style to resolve conflict more effectively, to communicate effectively, and to understand how to make decision, to coach others, and also to improve sales skills and to retain key staff.
My take back on the subject is understanding our own personality style helps us to identify our strength and weakness. It can help us to lead others more effectively by focusing on our strengths and at the same time being aware of any of potential shortfalls and then improve them appropriately.
Learning how to identify people by the personality type can bring a higher level of understanding to interpersonal relationships and team buildings, especially for the employers looking for ways to improve employee hiring and retention.
Understanding project managers' characteristics may help organizations to recruit highly motivated and performing individuals. This is because a person's personality traits can contribute a lot in the success of the projects.
With that, end of our presentation. Thank you very much, Prof. Roslan, for your time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.